Real conservative. You're talking about a Reagan-type conservative who understood that we need a strong national defense. We need to protect the free markets for the economy and economic growth, but also that we have a moral foundation which has to be protected. Life, marriage, the family. The culture matters.
The culture is the key. Now, the way Reagan and I and others have put it is, there really aren't three legs. They're all one leg. Conservatism is about a way of life, a way of living. It's about the civil society. Faith is at the core of it. Individuality is at the core of it. Respect for the rule of law is at the core of it. Liberty is at the core of it. A just and stable law like the Constitution is at the core of it. You can't chop up conservatism, in my view, into these 3, 4, 5 different legs. Conservatism is everything you say. Not a piece of it, not one of it, but people come in and they try and break us into pieces. We're not pieces. We are people of faith. Doesn't mean we compel people to comply with our faith, but we are people of faith. We believe in free market capitalism and private property rights, and we believe in individual liberty, individual sovereignty, and a constitutional system. That's conservatism.
I want to talk about the faith component of that for just a moment, because we're seeing an increasingly a rise of persecution of Christians in particular globally. In fact, tomorrow night we will recognize Maryam Ibrahim, the Sudanese Christian mother who was sentenced to die for her faith. But there appears to be a correlation between the rising intolerance toward living out the faith, whether it be primarily Christian faith in this country. What do you see on that front? Is this an anomaly, or is this really happening?
First of all, I want to make a statement as a Jew, and I told you this before. My life's experience is that evangelical Christians and faithful Catholics are the most tolerant people, period. They're the most tolerant people that I deal with. Folks don't try to impose their will on anybody else. They try to spread the word. I think what we really need in this country, and you're right, I mean, Obamacare is an attack on religious liberty, all liberty, but specifically religious liberty, and it comes out of the bowels of the bureaucracy in Washington, D.C. that issues regulations, faceless, nameless bureaucrats rewriting the First Amendment to the Constitution. But I would also say, I think Eric Holder said that we're a nation of cowards because we don't talk about race. We never stop talking about race. He's the coward because he won't talk about Islam.
That's right.
And I want to be clear what I'm talking about. Obviously, I'm not addressing law-abiding Muslims, of which there are 1 billion or so. What I'm addressing, though, is that we are sending young men and women off to war to fight fundamental Islam. That's what they're fighting. That's who they're fighting. And it's about damn time the President of the United States said it and stopped making apologies about it. Hold on. That's number one. Number two, how about a speech in defense of Christians around the world from the President of the United States?
I'll stand up for that one.
How about a speech from the President of the United States in defense of Israel for once? How about a speech from the President of the United States in defense of women who are really being raped, attacked, and enslaved?
Can I sit down now?
Yeah, please. Okay. Please be seated. Good man. By the way, did you vote yet?
I voted.
All right, just want to
Remember, I'm a Democrat. I voted twice.
Okay. You have a photo ID?
No, I had.
Sorry, I'm not allowed to ask.
Let's talk about the president's speech. We don't have a whole lot of time left, but the president's speech this week before the United Nations General Assembly, you talk about the issue of Islam. The president continues to say Islam is a religion of peace. How can we fight an enemy? I mean, I know we had another case of workplace violence in Oklahoma.
Yeah, right.
I mean, this transcends not only our international foreign policy, but our domestic policy, where we are at risk here at home, and we cannot come to the point where we can truly speak the truth because political correctness has basically blinded us to that truth.
Well, we need to reject political correctness. We need to reject the attempt by the left to keep us in little boxes or to move us out to extremes. We are the heart of America. Our belief system is the heart of America. We are the majority of America, and they treat us like we're some minor cult. We are not some minor cult. I don't need to be lectured by Barack Obama about any damn thing, let alone religion or Islam. That's number one. I'll watch myself.
That's right. I got a button. I've been beeping it all the time. Right?
There's 7 words I wrote down that, as a matter of law, I'm not allowed to say on the air, which I'd never say anyway. But all the rest I'm happy to use, you know. But anyway, and in English, I might add. I think we need to fight this effort to silence us, this PC stuff. They're trying to use the law in ways that harass us, whether it's the IRS, whether it's the attack on the lady in Texas and so forth and so on. We need to speak out. We need to stand up. You people are already doing. We need our neighbors and our friends and so forth to do the same. They treat us like we're this fringe. You know, I view the political spectrum quite differently. We're in the middle. You've got the radical leftists who've taken over the Democrat Party. Then you have sort of this neo-Confederate group out there that really doesn't believe in the Constitution and keeps talking about secession and so forth. We are traditional conservatives who embrace the Constitution, who embrace our heritage, and we need to continue to stand up. This president does not, from his values, from his comments, from his attacks on my country, does not represent me, period.
We are coming into an election. We're moving into the 2016 election cycle. I think you've pointed out very clearly our nation is at, every election is important. I mean, we know that because it determines a future course. But as you pointed out, time is running out for this country. Some things have been done in the last 6 years that, if not reversed quickly, may seal our fate as a nation. What would you say to the value voters out there, not just here today, but those watching across the country, what we need to be doing in the next 6 months, 12 months, 18 months?
Well, from an election perspective, what keeps happening is that the Republican establishment picks off the conservatives. And so you have all these primaries, and you got 28 people up on the stage, and it may happen again, and they're focused on 2 or 3, and we're all split up among 20. I think early on, I don't mean before the primaries, we need to be focusing on the most articulate, intelligent, charismatic, conservative candidate that we can get behind. And once it becomes relatively clear that there are some who we love who aren't going to make it, we need to start to rally behind those 1 or 2. Because I can't stand another election where I turn on the TV and you know where, and I'm told the only one who can win is McCain and the only one who can win is Romney. I've had a stomach full of that stuff. There is really, if you think about it, Obama was eminently defeatable in 2008, and even more defeatable in 2012. I've had it with an incompetent Republican bureaucracy and all their consultants.
It's fascinating to me how quickly the consultants rewrite history. In that, coming out of 2012, and now what we're hearing is that the reason the Republicans did not win is because we had a candidate who was too conservative and too focused on social issues, and we've got to get that behind us. And I'm thinking, did I fall asleep during that cycle? That's not what I heard.
No, and they're propagandists. At their worst, they don't even accept what they've done. They don't take credit for their defeats, you know. Here's the thing. We're in our third... All right, you ready? I'm going to tell you. 2006, we lost the House and the Senate. Who was the architect? We lost the House and the Senate. The last 6 elections, 5 times presidency, we've lost the popular vote. Were we in charge? No. Okay. We've had several election cycles in the Senate, and they keep bringing up the 2 or 3 candidates that they want to keep beating on. Last time I checked, there were 100 seats up in 3 election cycles. Right. It's not 2 or 3 candidates. Their candidates keep losing in places like North Dakota and Montana and Hawaii. And even now, if they win a landslide, they are scared to death they may not. They say, we need money, we need money, we need money. Their candidates are not appealing. Their candidates don't stand for anything. And when they do stand for something, they're moving left. They're not moving right. The American people are ready for leaders. They want emphatic, unequivocal statements about Americanism and American principle. Whether it's at home, that we're going to secure our borders, that we're going to get our economy running again by unleashing the private sector, unleashing the government, or that we're going to address World War III, and that's what it is, with World War II tactics. At least that's my opinion.
And the only way that will happen is if the value voters across this country engage to a level they've never engaged before.
Absolutely crucial. It's now or never. You got to rise up. It's not enough just to vote. You got to get 10, 20 people to vote. There's no question about that. I've also written a book and talked about the Convention of the States. I'm not going to do it here, but there are other things we have to do and we must do to get our country back. I firmly believe we live in a post-constitutional period, and it's getting worse. Right. And I also firmly believe that we're reaching the point where the precipice has been met, so that there's certain things that you would think we could do that we can't do. I'll give you a quick example. So much of what the government does is unaffected by the ballot box, because they've created this massive 4th branch of government, like the religious liberty issue comes out of the bowels of the bureaucracy of HHS. The EPA is shutting down businesses. It's destroying hard assembly line work, you know, men and women who go to work every day with a lunch pail and so forth, putting them out of work. Look at the lurching and the transition, massive food stamps, massive disability, massive growth of the welfare state. Even new immigrants to this country are encouraged to get on the gravy train. It's all in the wrong direction. It all helps this totalitarian mindset that is the Democrat Party. We have our work cut out for us, but there will be a point at which there's very little we can do, and we're getting there quickly. This election is crucial. The presidential election is even more crucial in 2016. I humbly believe we cannot nominate another rhino, or we're going to get our clocks cleaned again.
Well, speaking of the clock, we're out of time, Mark Levin. Mark Levin, you're a great American.
So are you, Tony. God bless you all.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Levin.